Ladies and gentlemen, Yellowstone Park lost a lot of revenue this summer. Attendance is still way down than usual. And as you can see, they're trying to repair these roads that got washed out. There are a lot of repair work that must be done. So I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to this audio from NPR.
Hey NPR, tap the play button to hear from StoryCorps with a love story between twin waitresses and twin musicians. Support for StoryCorps comes from Subaru, featuring the 2022 Subaru Forester Wilderness, equipped with all-terrain capability. Discover more at subaru.com/wilderness.
Weeks after flooding cut off much of Yellowstone National Park from surrounding areas, officials fixed up an old stagecoach road so that a limited number of visitors can go in and out of an entrance along the Montana border. The temporary route is also a kind of lifeline for a neighboring town dependent on summer tourism. Yellowstone Public Radio's Olivia Wheats reports.
The raging floodwaters in June took out hundreds of feet of paved road, and now the entrance from the neighboring town of Gardner, Montana is closed. It's expected to stay that way for at least a couple of years. Very bad news for tourist businesses, says Emil McCain, who owns a wildlife guiding company.
Without park access, the Gardner economy was falling apart.
But in July, the park opened a lifeline, a dirt road that is typically only used by bicyclists and one-way vehicle traffic. It took tons of heavy equipment work to make it more drivable, but now the Park Service is allowing a limited number of guide service vehicles to use the road to bring tourists into the park. Guide Matt DiMassino says it's called the Old Gardner Road and dates back to the stagecoach era.
Chester A. Arthur, first president to come visit the park, came in on this way. So I'm going to start calling it the presidential route instead of the Old Gardner route.
The road winds steeply through sagebrush hills towards the massive steaming mineral deposits at Mammoth Hot Springs. And soon after the van is back on a section of still intact paved road, the guide pulls over in a vast green landscape to view wildlife. A moose nestles among some willows near a creek. What are you seeing down there?
I'm trying to look at the bear through the binoculars and the camera.
Harry Bouse from the Netherlands is here with his son, Jean Leon, seeing Yellowstone for the first time.
I love the animals we saw and was really surprised that we saw the wolves. I didn't expect it.
In a normal summer, this road is often jammed with cars, which cluster up along narrow pullouts when someone spots wildlife. Lynn Harvey, visiting from Texas, was planning to drive her rental car into the park. She didn't learn that the entrance from Gardner was closed until she arrived in Montana. She signed on for this tour and isn't disappointed.
And with the whitewater rafting and the trips into the park, I don't think you miss out on anything. I mean, we don't feel like we missed out on anything besides the driving, and I'm glad.
On a recent weekend day, 30 tours like this entered the park through the entrance at Gardner. That's compared to about 1,700 cars on a typical summer day. Park Superintendent Cam Shawley says the goal is to open up as much of the park as possible for the benefit of tourists and the businesses that depend on their spending. More than $230 million a year on this end of the park alone.
Whatever we can do to, as quickly as possible, regain some level of access for those communities is critical for us.
Shawley says it will likely be years before there's a permanent fix to the park's entrance road at Gardner. For now, the park is trying to strike a balance between allowing guides to use the old road and making sure construction crews can pave it for tourists to start using in the interim this fall.
We all know it's not going to be normal. We also know that it can't be just wide open on the old Gardner Road, because if we don't give those contractors time to work and they don't finish the road before winter, then that opens up a whole nother host of problems that we'll have to deal with.
Tourist-dependent businesses in Gardner are grateful that the park has restored at least some access, but 4 hotels and 3 restaurants in the town of about 900 residents have already closed. The Absorca Lodge, occupancy 41, is still open. Kiana Linares works at the front desk here. She shows me the lower level rooms right above the banks of the Yellowstone River.
8 rooms down here. They're all empty right now. There's no power on in any of them.
The Chamber of Commerce says there's no way that 30 or so guided tours a day can sustain all of Gardner. Linares says very few people are making reservations ahead of time now.
I don't think we've actually had any people check in that had already booked tours. I think they're booking them as they get here once they realize they can't get in unless they book a tour or drive to West Yellowstone.
That's about a 3-hour drive from here. If Yellowstone is able to get the temporary road coming in from Gardner paved this fall as planned and allows visitors to drive it in their own cars, that will help the town recover. It's also hopeful for a good winter tourist season, as the park entrance at Gardner is the only one that stays open year-round. For NPR News, I'm Olivia Weitz in Gardner, Montana.
Wow. They make 200.
And now, more from
Hold
NPR.
on.
Weeks after flooding.
Okay. Sorry about that. They make $230 million a year on tourism to Yellowstone, and they're losing all of that money this year. Wow. That's a lot of money to be lost. But yeah, they are working on roads. In fact, I saw some different shots of different roads that were washed out, and those roads still have not been repaired yet. It's going to take some time. And you heard what they said. They're trying to get a temporary road that people can use to get back into Yellowstone. Man, and you see the hotels that, like the woman said, they had hotel rooms and none of them were filled. So it's been a rough year since that flood. Y'all remember the flood that happened? It was pretty bad. And, they were saying the flood was historic. And you see, they're desperately trying to recover from that. But, y'all, please tell me what you think about this story. Wow, they did stand to lose a lot in this flood. The natural disasters are kicking their behinds for real. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.